Welcome to allfanstv. I'm John. I'm joined this evening by Rams. How are we, Rams?
All good. What we saying, people? Rams in the building. Glad to be here. Missed it.
Nice to see you back. If you're new to this channel, please like and subscribe. All Fans TV launched last week, trying to give all fans a voice. The main difference with our channel is two main points: is we show all sports, so we're here for all your watch-alongs from football right through to WWE and UFC and boxing, and as much as we can physically bring to you in 1 week. And the main other option is you are allowed to come on our show. You don't have to have a great following, don't have to have huge subscribers. Simply email allfanstv@gmail.com. You can come on, join myself and Rams for any of the watch-alongs, any of the shows. So please like and subscribe, share on the socials. Obviously in the description is our free sponsors, so make sure you check out their websites. And that's the boring stuff done. Rams, it's that time. No more watch-alongs. Fantasy Football League. Are you ready for it? Have you done your homework? This is where we're going to find out. Quick little catch up. Obviously UFC was really good. Not as much as we wanted to see knockout-wise, but overall, what did you think?
Yeah, to stay up, watch both the cards, back in the boxing, and to only get one knockout, and that be by Jake Paul, was a very, very disappointing evening for me. Especially as we went through the prelims as well. Very disappointing. But on a plus, I know what's coming up. So I think we could see the total reverse near on next week. So, hey, where there's something that doesn't work, there's something that does. So hopefully we'll get a better show next time.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel. It was a bit of a hug fest other than the Paul versus Askren. But really looking forward to this weekend. 261, Usman versus Masvidal. Weiling Zhang versus Thug Rose. And also Andrade coming in versus Shevchenko. So really big fights, really looking forward to that weekend. But you didn't come here for UFC. You came here for Fantasy Football League. We're really, really excited. When we first thought about doing this show, I won't lie, it was for egotistical reasons. Me and Rams both feel like we enjoy fantasy football on our own, and just thought, you know what, why not bring all you guys in? Rams has been busy building our side. I'm interested to look at it. I've had a quick sneak preview, I won't lie, but Rams going to give us the run through of each one, and obviously I'll give my chance to have my say. Obviously, we want you to join the league. 2v6 F6V. So that is our pin. We will obviously put it in the description afterwards. More fans, the merrier that can join us. The league will start from 0. So obviously, your millions of points that no doubt you all have. We will obviously start from 0 for the remaining few weeks, which means we all get a fair ground. And obviously Rams is going to show us our team in a sec, which we will all start from 0. Obviously our team is called All Fans TV. The code again is 2v6FXV. So get involved, put it on your socials, encourage some people to get involved, and let's have some fun. So with further ado, let's get straight into it. I'm going to pop up our fantasy window, if it works. Didn't. Let's see if it works this time. There it is.
Oh, there we go. We're in the building.
We should be in the game somewhere one day. There you go. As I say, we say it all the time when we show our inferior complexity technology. We are just normal people, just wanting to come and have a laugh with you guys. So without further ado, let me just move this up slightly so you can see the starting 11 that Ryan is obviously no doubt eagerly wanting to show me what he did to come up with this side. So, all right, let's start from the goalkeeper, Martinez.
Okay, so Martinez, most points in the game for goalie position. So hard not to pick him. Bear in mind, it's all on Premiership. We've played 30 games. He has, or just over 30 games, so he's got 6 left. So, 32 games already played. Let's be fair. If he's got that many now, I can't see it changing. Also, you get points for saves. He makes a number of saves throughout a lot of games. So he's always, even if he doesn't get the clean sheet bonus, He gives you 2 points for your game, and also a couple of extra points for his saves, and sometimes a man of the match bonuses. So he's often got me 10 points plus, which is very, very unheard of as a goalie. So for me, a sure bet in at goalie.
No argument from me on that one. Bit of ironic that you have chosen him, though, isn't it? Obviously, being an Arsenal fan, I can believe when I first saw it.
I mean, I've picked him throughout the whole season. I personally think Arsenal shouldn't have let him go. I actually think he's a better goalie than Leno. I think one of the biggest mistakes that we have at Arsenal is we don't have someone that controls the area. And when he played last year, one of the reasons we were more solid and a bit better on the quick breaks was because A, he's so organised and gets the defence where he needs to be, and B, he's got a great clearance that goes up quickly to get him off on the attack. We've seen loads of times for Aston Villa where he sprung him on the break for his quick kick out. So for me, he's a really good goalie, and we missed out doing that. Bad business.
Yeah, fair point. Well said as well. Yeah, it was a bad decision, but obviously Leno is still not a bad goalkeeper. It's not a horrendous decision. It's just, and as I say, next year he might not quite be what he is this year, but it has turned out to be a little one. Obviously Dallas from Leeds. So what's your thinking behind him?
Again, Dallas, main reason, because he plays in midfield more than he plays in defence. So generally there you've got extra goals. He's done it many a time throughout the season. Again, at the moment, top points contributor for a defender in the whole league. And again, for so far in the league, to still be up there consistently, you see that with a lot of defenders to start off with. First 6 games, first 8 games, and they come back down, and you get the more reality is what you should expect it to be. The big boys earning the big points. But actually, Dallas has consistently been there. Like a lot of Sheffield United players did last year, he stuck around, and like I say, he's number 1 at the moment. So with goals,
he's number 1 in the whole of the fantasy league defender-wise, yeah.
Defender-wise, yeah, and with the goals that Leeds often score, he's always contributing. At the moment, they seem to be on a bit of a resurge. They had a bit of a lull. They seem to be on a resurge now, so I think he could be in for a few more goals. I think this weekend just gone, I think he was in on the points, or the week before that he got 10 points. So often scoring double figures, which is good for a defender.
Yeah. Okay, so first 2 in the bag, quite happy with those. I enjoyed the banter from Martinez and Dallas. Obviously, the buggers yesterday, Leeds, so I completely can see it, and I didn't realise he was top of the whole league for defenders, so good shout. Just a quick shout out to the guys in the chat. So Class FM saying evening lads, hope you're well, Class FM. Looking forward to your Europa League adventure to see how you get on. And thank you, Arsenal were rookie to let him go, 20 million LOL. So yeah, totally agreeing with what we're saying. Was a bit of a shame to let Martinez go, but I think a great shout from Rams to include him in our first ever squad for the Fantasy Football League. So moving on, I have to get closer to the screens. I'm getting old, my eyes. Kufal from obviously is West Ham, right?
Yeah, West Ham. So just before I go to Kufal, again with Martinez, just one other thing. Bear in mind, there's ramblings now that Leno wants to go in the summer. It'll be crazy that he then goes and we've got left with no goalie. So yeah, Arsenal
left with Ryan, who was unbelievable winning that header the other day. To be fair,
Arsenal wanted the money to reinvest when they could have spent their own money and got it without reinvesting for a player. So really bad. But on to Kufal. Kufal has been a revelation for me this year. For West Ham, I think he's one of the key factors in them playing so well. Storming forward from wing back, or full back. I always like to prefer to put a full back in my team. You get points and defence from assists. So generally, wing backs get more assists than another defender. They get goals from big centre backs, but few and far between for me. More assists from wing backs than goals from centre backs. So that's why I got with Kufal. Price wise, 4.6, 4.7, somewhere around there. So reasonably cheap for me. And it gives you a good balance to be able to put more attacking players in that cost more money. So I like to normally go quite cheap in my defence, but try and find solid players that are good prices, like Dallas and Kufal.
Yeah, happy with that. West Ham having a great season. So if anyone doesn't play Fantasy Football League, you mentioned that the 4.6. What did you have to spend to put this squad together?
So Fantasy Football give you rules. I'm pretty certain it's £100 million you get to spend. Now, throughout a season, as you make shrewd business moves throughout a season, that actually grows. So if you buy someone, for example, and his value goes up, and then you transfer him, you make the profit. So when it comes to sort of wild cards, you can have a little bit more to play with when it comes to wild card time, because then you've got 102, 103, whatever you might make. So that's that in that sense. And then you obviously are only allowed a number of players from each team. Defence-wise, they can range from anything from about £4 million for a defender up to about high sevens, which is the top end. So you think you have a lot of high sevens, you might have spent 30-40 million pounds on defenders.
So 4.6 million for Kufau is a good bit of business. I assume Definitely. That young man next to him, with the amount of assists he's been racking up, I'm sure he's probably high up in the standings as well this year. Old Trent, how much would he have cost?
Only just started going up, to be fair to him. Usually I always have Trent in my team, well, especially last year, because he wasn't quite as expensive as he is this year, since he's started to be quite become a mainstay and sort of not the young man that he was. Price and value has gone through the roof, so it's hard to keep him in your team and get attacking players. But normally he's guaranteed high assists, the odd free kick, the odd goal, always high points. He's been quite low this season, so he's not been quite his normal self on fantasy football. But the last few months, he started to pick it right up. So I think he's in the top, at least maybe 5, but definitely 10.
Yeah, I think he's in the top 6. I just had a quick little sneaky look. Luckily for him, he can probably, with all these type of games, if you get assists and goals, your points will always look after themselves.
They start to fly up again. I think him and Robertson are actually playing neck and neck. I think Robertson might be just in front of him in 5th and he's behind him, which again, earlier in the season, that wasn't happening. I took Robertson out of my own previous team because he won't get me the points that he normally does, and generally he's consistent as you like.
Probably is parallel with how Liverpool have done this season. Moving into midfield, just a big quick shout out to Robbo. Good evening, how are we? And thank you. And obviously Class FM, nice to see you guys. I'm sure you're obviously going to join our league if you do play Fantasy Football League. Obviously we've started a league. The pin is 2v6FXV, but I will put the link in the description after the video. Please join. We'll all start from 0. We'll have a bit of a giggle, and then obviously as allfanstv grows, we've only been going a week. Next year we'll look to spice it up with some prizes and mini competitions and stuff like that. And maybe next year we'll look at me and Rams having a separate team, and see how we can all get on. And to please join us in that. As I say, I will put the link in the description. So I can see, where do you want to start? Wingers, midfield? Where do you want to start? Where do you want me to interrogate?
We'll start from Lingard probably, but before we say that, just so you know, even if you've got a team already in the Premier Fantasy League game, you can still enter that. You don't have to create a new one. Just the points in our league will start from 0. Your points will remain as they are throughout, but in our league, we'll start afresh from this game week. Just to make sure we're aware of that. And then Lingard, mate. If I was Man United, I'd be going, what did we do there? I think it's something crazy, like he scored 9 goals in 10 games or 8 goals in 9 games, which for fantasy football, guess what? Goals mean points. So for me, for the last, I put him in there the week he started scoring. So I've earned straight away. But for me, he's been a revelation. Whether or not that could happen at a big club, I don't know. I do think Jesse's a good player. I think sometimes he focuses too much on fashion and his other away from football
TikTok
business, and that maybe takes it away. Yeah, but actually, I think at moments he's a brilliant player. Especially for someone so lightweight. And knows how to sense a goal and get a goal. So if I hear him going in some
level, isn't he? He's done it for England as well. He has scored goals. Yeah, to me, if he wasn't have been in there, it would have been a surprise. He's obviously flying on form. To answer your question, I don't think he can do it at Man United. Not necessarily not a top club, but if it just weren't happening for him at Man United, and
no, definitely,
I'm not too sure.
But I still think at a top 6 club he could do okay. At Leicester, for example, I think he could be amazing. Yeah,
I think all West Ham fans are fuming with you. Just put them above the West Ham. I think West Ham fans would think they were bigger than Leicester. But I know what you mean. He could maybe go a bit higher, but a shoe-in for me. I'm sure it's going to continue as well. I don't think this is a purple patch that will disappear. I think he'll continue to score goals until he probably gets sold to someone else. Don't think West Ham will have the money, and I think Man United won't have him back. And if they do, it will just be a shame because we'll sit here in the reserves again, which is just madness when you see show them stats that you just talked about. That's crazy.
I mean, last year's contract going for 20 to 25 million pound. That's a snip. I think he's still young, under 25. I think roughly 25 in and around. Absolute snip. And no disrespect to West Ham, but let's be fair, Leicester by all means a bigger club than West Ham financially.
Yeah. And you see what a giggle he looks like he is to have in the change room. Although we mentioned TikTok, you always see him doing crazy things. Like he looks like a good lad to have in the change room, a bit of bants, nice and relaxed.
Similar to your boy Ox, he's very similar in the change room, I imagine. They've got great balance, great about the music. They're all into that sort of bit. So yeah, I bet they're great fun.
So I'll just give the few people asking for the code again. It's 2 V for Victor, 6 F for Freddy, X for X-ray, and V for Victor. I tried putting it in the chat. I know people are asking me to, but it wouldn't let me. So I will put it in the video description afterwards. So don't panic. You will be able to join well in time for the first points on the board for hopefully All Fans TV, and you lot will absolutely have a nightmare. And obviously I'm quite liking the fact that Rams have chose quite a good side here. I was hoping I'd just see all red Liverpool shirts, but obviously can't be the case, so I'll take it on the chin. Maddison, is that next?
Yeah, Maddison. To be fair, I've not been playing for... Other than last week, I think he just got back from injury. So sometimes a little bit risky with a player coming back from injury, not always quite there. So could maybe play less minutes or not quite be up to the speed. But for me, Leicester don't play the same without Maddison playing. Vardy don't get the goals without Maddison playing in the same way. And you've seen it. Vardy's goals over the last 6, 7, 8 games have dried right up. Without Iheanacho, they'd have been struggling for me. So he makes them tick further forward. Tielemans does his bit behind him. And it makes him play, but Maddison turns on a sixpence and can put a ball through. So for me, great for a free kick as well. So definitely should be in there. And money-wise, again, if you put him in there in comparison to, the Fernandes and the Salahs, they're like £5 million more than him. So he's £7 million-ish pounds.
Talk to me about the difference between him and Mount out of interest. Would you be able to find out Mounts?
Yeah, so Mount very similar price.
Is he more expensive? Do you know?
No, about the same. In and around, give or take 0.1, 0.2, they're about the same. Reason I don't always go for Mount, I started with him when Frank was there, but not as quite consistent but not always in the team. I think he changes it quite a bit, old Tunchel. And again, you don't know if he's going to be in your teams, and then all of a sudden you put him in there, it costs you so much money, and then it costs you to get him back out. So that's why I've not sort of put him in there.
Well, and they're very potato, aren't they? Let's be honest.
Not much.
You wouldn't notice which one was which. That's why I mentioned him. I just wanted to know in comparison, was he? Just quickly go through some of the chats. City are pulling out as well. To thank you. Yeah, so Rams was quickly filling me in before we went live with the story of Czech coming out and them not refusing to play and pulling out of the Super Six or whatever this weird notion is called.
And for those of you that saw that, I mean, it was actually quite a sight, to be fair. I mean, they've got fans all rallying behind Stamford Bridge, all building up, good few hundred, not letting anything in or out of the stadium to be able to get the game underway. And then Peter Cech, who club legend or not, I don't think you can change it without saying the right thing, has come out and said, and probably gone with the fact that Chelsea are not going to be in it and are refusing to be. Within 5 minutes, that crowd has gone, dispersed, out of the way, and the game can get underway. So unbelievable. Maybe Peter Cech should get into politics. Hey, you never know.
Well, he's done quite well at politics. He's gone from one London club to another, and everyone still seems to like him anyway.
Fair point. I have no bad words to say about him.
It is what it is with him, isn't it? I think he got into everyone's hearts quickly on Czech when obviously that thing happened with his head. I think everyone from then, and he was always a great goalkeeper, wasn't he? Especially when Mourinho had him with Chelsea. So thank you. Also, Barcelona, City, and Atletico are all in the process of leaving. So yeah, I no doubt they have, but it's like being caught doing something and then sort of not doing it again. You're not doing it for any other reason than you've been caught. And I think that's the reason they're all coming out. And obviously the Premier League met today with the other 16 or 17 teams. Was sanctions mentioned? You don't know, do you? And it's fallen on. How could they do it anyway? No one wants them to do it, do they? Even the governing bodies of UEFA are refusing. So I'm not too sure. I believe these nice clubs refusing. I don't believe that's the right word. I don't think they're allowed.
And we mentioned it between ourselves earlier. How, John, can they have a Super League without Bayern Munich? I mean, that's crazy. How would you even try to form that? Madness, and PSG not in it. I mean, A, it doesn't work in that sense, and B, why would you ruin the other leagues just to financially benefit these teams? Or
Crazy, isn't it?
I think in this day and age with the social media that we have, I just think anything that happens in that sense gets blown up straight away. You can't get away with it anymore, and it becomes.
I'd really like to see the numbers that someone's forecasting for this, that's got all of the chairmen salivating, that has made them think it. How much more money can they actually earn from it? Be really, really interesting. Obviously, I'm never going to be finding out. allfanstv aren't that powerful, I'm afraid, but I'd love to get, if we ever got bigger, get a journalist on that knows something about this sort of stuff, and find out what are these extra money pots that they're talking about. Because at the end of the day, if it did happen, say your club did it, and then your club now can buy Ronaldo and Ibrahimovic, and I'm not talking about them at this age, but the top players, you can go and buy Messi 330 grand a week, no drama. I'm not too sure fans would then have the same issue they've got now. And that's just me being honest. I've been speaking to a lot of people about it, and make no mistake, it's greed. But if that greed, I don't know, translates into Liverpool having the best team in the world, then Klopp needs to get on board with this shit, because I'm sick of having bad players. And also in Europe, I've got to be honest, yesterday I've seen teams like St. Petersburg, who were Arsenal playing in the other day in the quarterfinals, Slavia Prague. You're excited to be in the quarterfinals, but you want to be playing top teams. Sometimes in the Champions League, there's even poor teams left in the quarterfinals. So I don't like the effect it's going to have on the league. But I do quite like the idea of the club having more money and potentially buying better players. But if they would spend that money on it anyway is another question, isn't it? So.
And refreshing the Champions League is not a bad thing. It's just how we do it, and ruining all the other leagues to achieve that is not what it's about. Football's meant to be a community sport. People come together, and the fact that you end up ruining these leagues possibly to get your financially Super League in the way, for me is wrong on all forms.
Yeah, it's really, really funny. As I said, I don't want to come across to anyone out there that I'm for it, but I don't know. I worked in football for 6 years, but they make out it's a community. It's an elite sport with a dreadful cutthroat. And I can just imagine chairmen of the top clubs looking at the crap clubs and thinking, why have we got to prop you up? Why have we got to help you? Why have we got to distribute some of our money to you that you don't generate? And in any other business, that is actually allowed. So, interesting thoughts. And I like to come with a bit of a swerve ball for you. But as I say, I totally agree with Rams and everyone else in the chat. It's greed, it's awful, and if it affects the league, like I said yesterday on the watch along, if you finish in third, are you just now completely taking the gas off because you're not bothered about finishing second or fourth? So as soon as you can't win the league, which for 90% of the clubs is probably after week 2, I'm not too sure that will mean. But anyway, moving on. So we've done Maddison, good shout. Interesting to know he's similar price to Mount. And as I say, potato. Happy with Lingard. The man in the middle needs no invitation, needs no description. I'm just glad you chose him.
Salah, in every game I've ever played, always goes in now, because for the last 3 years he has been phenomenal. Actually, this year has been a strange one because he started phenomenally. I think he got something crazy like 30 something points in the first or second game. He was on fire. I think he got 3 or 4 goals. It was something crazy.
Leeds, thank you very much.
And then he dipped a little bit, and then he scored again. So he's been a bit like, he gets the big points, but then has a few quiet games. Gets the big points so I've just been unable to take him out of my team, because you know that after 2 or 3 games he's still going to go and score you this many goals. And as your captain, sometimes that could be double points, and that could be 40.
Yeah,
points,
I believe I haven't looked, so I'm making a statement here without researching. But isn't he the top scorer in the Premier League still?
I think he's level with, I think there's a couple of them that are on
That's
similar
what I mean.
sort of.
And then you mentioned he's had a topsy-turvy season, which he has, and he's still generating those numbers.
Exactly.
Crazy.
Which is why you can't drop him.
Yeah. Bowen's a very interesting one. I do recognise he's a great player. I take it he was one of your cheapos.
Yeah, so financially you've got to find a balance. Now, I differed with him and Saka, to be fair, because Saka does generate some good points with his assisting of goals. But I think Bowen will play more as a striker as Antonio's out. So I think you'll find there that we might find that he can get a few more goals and be more in the mix. So for that reason, I put him in there. But yeah, to balance out the cost, he is also a mid to low level cost player. So under 7 mil. So
yeah, like it. So when you guys join our league, obviously, and you're getting your you're looking at the league, and me and Rams are top of it, then you can see that it's because we're maximising our position. So obviously, there's better midfielders in the world than some of those people in the team, but they're going to generate hopefully points. They're playing in positions that are a bit more further up than that formation there relays. So think about that when you're making your teams. There'll be no violins, there'll be no sympathy for me and Rams when you're tailing miles behind with your Fabinhos of this world, and I love him in there. This isn't a game for those sort of players. Bowen, he does score the goals, especially with Lingard at the moment, some assists, so good shout. And
where are West Ham in the league? Let's be fair, where are they right now? They're up there. So again, 6 games to go. There's a reason you're up there. You can't keep going, it's West Ham. Yeah. I don't like West Ham. I can assure you of that. But I love football and I appreciate what they've done this year. It's really refreshing. And your question, like Stanford said the other day, no fans. How much does that assist them? Because their fans are brutal at times. So yeah, I think it's hard. You always want teams that are in the top 4 generally because they're the best players and they're generating the best points. So it makes sense to sort of think about Bowen. I'd have Antonio sometimes, so it's always good to think about him, and I think it's a good shout.
I bet West Ham fans and their team and manager are kicking themselves this morning. Obviously, they had the chance to capitalise and get further into the top 4, and then Liverpool dropped points just after them. So imagine it now, they'd be really, really starting to cook on gas. So very unlucky for West Ham, but obviously as a Liverpool fan, I'm grateful. Quick shout out to the chats. So Robbo, word is all the 12 clubs had a meeting earlier today. I think they will pull out as I can't see it going ahead. Yeah, so totally agree. And again, I agree with you, but I don't think there's any of this pull out. I don't think there's any decisions. I think you've gone to do something naughty, you've been put on a naughty step, slapped. You're doing as you're told. Let's make no mistake, they only announced it 48 hours ago. They all wanted to do it. They all thought about this long and hard and then made their decision. Just turned my light on, apologies. All made the decision to do this. So I think that, as I say, just being spanked now, and for once it's a victory, isn't it, for lower league, not lower league, but lower down clubs. They've been getting squashed by all these big clubs for so long, and it's a bit of an up yours. You're trying to, as someone said yesterday, that it's all about football as a poor man's game, and they're trying to make it a rich man's game, and it's wrong. So the last one in midfield, but I get it. So talk to me, Fernandes.
So again, I think he's the top point earner as a midfielder in the game. Actually been on a really quite bad run of form recently. Last 4 to 5 games, he hasn't really delivered. So I question taking him out.
United had a penalty. That might have something to do with it.
Well, that also. But I questioned taking him out. I really did. But again, he's a top point earner in the league. He can turn up and sharp at any stage. And let's remind me, who are they playing?
Oh, I can't remember. You mean they've got Europe, obviously. They've got the Europe, Roma coming up, haven't they, in Europa?
I think it's a reasonable game, is why I say. I don't think it's a. I can't. I'll check it in a moment. I'll double check, but I'm pretty certain it's a reasonable game as well. So I think.
The thing is with Man United, even if it's a hard game, they still seem to come through it. They'll be 1-0 down, and then somehow you look at the video printer at the end of the game, and they're sneaking their way back into things. It's very annoying, and he does produce goals. They've got Leeds. Okay, so it's a hard game, but the way Leeds play, could be chances in and around that box, and he's not passing, he's shooting. I'd love to know some of the Man United players and have a cheeky word with him at the pub and say, look, you don't like him, do you? Because we've all played football, and you play with people like that, and when it goes in, you accept it and you're buzzing. When it doesn't, I can imagine the way he shouts at people and stuff. Great player, glad he's in there. This is about fantasy football leagues, about points and results, and he's he's going to bring that to the party. He's just annoying, isn't he? All Man United players are annoying, especially the good ones. Just glad they've only got a couple, and half of them don't want to be there. Yes, I'm referring to Pogba. You all Man United fans, you know he doesn't want to be there. Stop loving him. It's embarrassing. And then your forwards are not blowing me away. Talk to me.
Yeah, I would say exactly the same. If I saw them on paper, I went, yeah, they're okay. They've had reasonable seasons. But points-wise, I think both are in the top 5. So you put that into perspective. Then you look at the others in the top 5. We look at, okay, we've got Vardy and Kane. Kane's injured. And if he's not injured, he's not playing because it's the final. So that means, well, we've lost points. Because I would always have Kane in my team. Absolute beast. Yeah. I hate to say it, but a beast of a player. And what the hell Arsenal did when he was 10 years old or whatever age we let him go. Wow. Morons. So yeah, beast. So I'd always have him in there, but yeah, he's got to be out at the moment. So you're left with what you're left with. And Vardy's not been performing for me. Hasn't scored in 5, 6, so many games. Might change with Maddison back, but Iheanacho's been carrying them. So I actually have Iheanacho on the bench, which would possibly be a possibility. But I think these two boys have been quite consistent throughout the season. Not prolific, but consistent. Every 2 to 3, every other game or so, they're getting a goal. I think they're both up in and around the top 5 for goals in this season. So yeah, I think on that basis alone, you can't not.
Well, I was just looking as you're talking, and when you look at them in isolation, they're not the sexiest of strikers, let's be brutally honest. But then when you go, well, hang on, Fernandes doesn't really play in midfield. He's a number 10, so he's going to be another 10-foot forward. Salah's another 20-foot forward. Lingard's wherever he wants across that top. And Bowen plays up there as well. So all of a sudden you look and you're really playing, well, 5/6 up front. So when you look at it like that, they actually look really good, especially as you say, they're producing the goods in the actual fantasy league. Now let me just quickly take you off the telly for 1 second, just so I can scroll down, show everyone the subs that you've chosen for us. So Meslier's at Leeds, it is, isn't he? He's a good goalkeeper, isn't he?
Definitely a good goalie. Low on points, 4.7. I think he's top 3. I think he's the 3rd highest point scorer in the league. So for me, yeah, for that point value, and if you have to sub him in, get an injury, he has to come in, you're pretty certain he'll do okay and give you reasonable points. Yeah. Again, high save value. There's a lot of saves, so he gets some bonus points that if he doesn't get the clean sheet, he might still give you 4 or 5 points because he's got 2 bonus for the saves.
Makes sense. Iheanacho obviously needs no explanation. He's been scoring goals for fun, hasn't he? So I'm glad that he's in there. If he can carry it on, because Leicester are known for, apart from that 1 year at Bandcamp when they won something, but other than that, they tend to fall apart near the end. They're always there, aren't they? They're always near the top most of the season and then falter away. So hopefully he might be the difference.
And let's be fair, if Vardy was playing well, he wouldn't be in that team. No 2 ways about it. He's a bit part player at best normally, but he's hit a purple patch when they've needed him to. So I do not like him as a player. Not a fan. Don't think he's good enough. Don't see the talent. But for them, he's done what he's got to do at the moment, and he's low value. So why not?
So talking about no talent, let's bypass White for a second. Let's talk about Holding.
Well, I actually don't think
to me. What, is he free? Was he free?
I don't think he's got no value, but he's 4.2 million. Now, there's not many defenders that you can get for 4.2 million that actually earn you
not
points.
Not that as crap as him, I'm sure.
Actually, if you go on it, they'll probably not even earn you points. So, again, on the bench, when you might need some points and you need to get your big scoring players in the team, I mean, I had, for a lot of the season, I had Nico Williams in my team because he's the cheapest player in there, for example, 4 million. There's a few of them, and he was the only one with an outside chance of playing at that value.
Yeah, okay.
So to get someone like Holding, who actually probably got about 100 points this year, which isn't bad, he's probably top 20 defender in that sense. Yeah, it's a good one to have on a bench for a cheap value to get your big players in the team.
Fair enough.
And he's third defender.
And with that,
he's the third choice.
You obviously got to have an Arsenal player in there, so I don't blame you. It's quite ironic the only Arsenal player is probably one of your worst ones, and then you have got a previous one that's really good, but he don't play for you anymore. Arsenal, I do like Arsenal.
the player on form that I would have had in for Arsenal obviously would have been Saka, especially at 5.3 million.
Is that
He's a
all he
snip.
is?
You might find that when we come into next week and we want to get Kane in, we'll take someone out, bring him in, because again, he gives you goals and assists, and he's the probably only real threat that Arsenal really have at the moment consistently. So,
Fine,
yeah.
okay, like it. And as I say, as Ram said, there is subs or transfers you can make every week. So this is going to be a weekly show every Tuesday at 7:30. Make sure you join us every week. Me and Rams will be debating over the side. I'm quite happy with this side today. Next week when we start to make our transfers, it'll be very interesting. I'm sure Rams will try and find a way to get Saka in there, because I think he's mentioned that as a little ready, wet the wheels ready for next week. And I do like Saka, but I'm going to try and find a place for Foden. And I'm assuming he's cheap because he's young.
I love Foden, but the only thing you find with Man City players every week is he will play in Europe and then won't play in the league. And he's been in this league. If you look at his points, he's probably not in the top 10.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
And for Foden,
that's true.
He's been a top 10 midfielder this year without question. But on the points, he's not. So he's probably been a top, possibly 3 midfielder for me this year. He's been awesome, but he's not on the points showing that. And I like to win. So for me, unfortunately, this team wouldn't win it. This team wouldn't win any matches for Villa, would it? Look at the defence. It's all attack, attack.
Be fun to watch.
But it's going to get us points.
Well, Trent and Dallas definitely ain't bad there. So it's Kufau and Martinez versus whoever they're playing. And the rest are somewhere up there being led by... There's no real leaders either, so they're all just doing their own thing. Who's the leader of that team? Well, no, it's Bruno, isn't he? Bruno's hated by everyone. He's shouting at everyone. Salah's just doing his thing. But plenty of goals, plenty of points. If you are looking at that team thinking, what are Rams and John on about? Well, there's a chance for you to put your money where your mouth is. 2v6 FXV is now in the chat from Class FM. Get yourself involved, share on your socials. Do you think me and Rams know what we're talking about? Do you think you can beat us? Have you been telling your friends all year how great you are? No one cares. Well, guess what? Me and Rams care. Get involved. Let me just have a quick little word through the chats before we shoot off. Let me just make sure I've read those ones out. Madrid's owners, though, was saying for some there is too much already invested to pull out now. And yeah, that's what I'm interested in. I'm interested in the money. You don't make these type of announcements without some semi-commitment, some investment, but more importantly, some clever dick telling you you're going to earn lots and lots of money that cannot be replicated from the current Sky, the current broadcasting, that is worth losing potentially whatever the Champions League and Europa League can do to them in terms of sanctions. Now, have they just dropped all that in 48 hours because we're all a little bit upset? I doubt it. They still charge £5 for a burger and everyone's been upset about that forever. Interesting. It's true though, Rams, isn't it? Do you mean how many people just see moaning and we'd buy more burgers if they were cheap? They don't give a crap. They're still £5. The onions are still processed and we still buy them because we're crazy fans, which is why we'll probably still, in a year's time if it's happened, still watch Liverpool versus Bayern Munich or whoever the teams are in there in the Super League if it happened. Go on, Rams, just going to say so, mate.
Yeah, well, you could have the opposite though to a degree. You could have that small period where you had the spin-off clubs form. We had a few I think we had maybe one from Man United at one point, but we definitely had the AFC Wimbledon form. And the way Chelsea fans were going on, they were saying that they're not going to support the club if they make this decision. So, hey, who knows? I mean, the Premiership's loved, and if it means ruining the Premiership, I think there is a lot of passion for the Premiership that might actually find that is enough to do something, enough to sway some sort of momentum to a degree. So it's going to be a very interesting 5 or 6 weeks for me.
It's going to be fun. We wanted something to talk about, didn't we? So let's be honest, as sports fans, we love gossip. We're loving this as sports fans. We're well involved. We just hope to get the outcome we all want.
Yeah, I mean, and what effect does it have on the Euros? I mean, you know, they're talking about bans and fines and this. The Euros are what, 2 months away? Not far, that's for sure. So it's going to be very interesting few weeks, and good for us to be able to talk about it. So I look forward to speaking to you on maybe the next watch along or our next moment where we can have a little chat about what's happened since. Yeah.
Euros will be here every night, guys. June the 11th, I think it starts. Let me just make sure I've not missed anyone. Grant White, Harry Kane, top son. and top assist. So you probably missed that one. We did include him from the beginning, but we had to remove him because obviously you guys are in a cup final. Well, if it goes ahead at the weekend, so he's not going to be here for our first week. So we can't even abuse you as a Spurs fan. We said Kane's a beast, and it doesn't surprise me. He's top. And
both of us had Kane and Son both in our team originally when we discussed it earlier. Again, as it pains me to say it, it really does. But points wise and this season wise, they have been very, very, very good and very, very consistent. So I know Kane does, not Kane, but Son does tail off at the back end, and he started to do that now. So he sometimes is questionable, but Kane cannot be questioned for me.
No, exactly.
And while John's reading the last messages, just remember, guys, without you guys, we are nothing. So please make sure you want to see Rams, you want to see us here, giving you what we think. Please like, subscribe, and email us. We want you on the show. We want to hear from you. You man are the ones that we want to hear from. We want to get the banter with. It's all about having banter with John. We have bants all the time. I want to rip someone else. I want to abuse someone else. So let's get on. Let's hear what you think, and let's have some fun, boys and girls. So please, I'll let John tell you the rest of the messages, but please get involved.
Yeah, just literally going to read out Class FM saying Grant, yeah, Kane 21, Salah 19. So imagine we'd have had Kane and Salah, which we would have done. We got goals galore. JT saying, evening all, what a crazy 24 hours it's been with all this Super League rubbish. Totally agree with you, JT. It's been absolutely crazy. Thank you saying Leicester has more pens, but United are the merchants. Yeah, we just like to abuse United, and it's only because Fernandes. If you wouldn't have mentioned anything about Fernandes and how many goals he was scoring, we'd have never called him Fernandes. Then Klopp would have never started talking about penalties, and you've hardly had any since, because Klopp's now the old Ferguson, the almighty. He now says people either do like Ferguson used to. So since he said it, I was watching someone, you've hardly had any penalties, because he told the refs to ease off. So yeah, you probably have been caught up now by Leicester, but as I say, it was your fault. So no offence, thank you, but you got to take this one on the chin. Fernandes is now never going to go away. Even if Ronaldo comes and buoys him off to the side and he never takes a penalty again, he's still going to be Fernandes forever. But we have got him in our team. For the penalties.
How many has he missed? He's still not missed, has he?
I don't think he's missed a penalty. No, let us know, thank you. Has he missed a penalty? I don't think he has.
I'm sure he hasn't. I'm pretty certain that's where the name sort of also stemmed from.
Yeah. Holding definitely value for money from JT. Thank you. Ed Woodward has resigned.
Whoa!
No, that can't be right. Well, if Ed Woodward has resigned, then that conversation we had a few minutes ago about investment and money and power and leading that way, and if it is now falling all underneath him, then because he's not resigned for all the hate he's had from United fans for years, so it'd be interesting to see what Class FM has to say in the chat on that, as we know he's a Man United fan.
I don't think he's ever really been liked, to be fair. But if that's the case, it means the power has made that happen. You know, if a decision's been taken out of his hands and he feels he wants to go in a Super League, but it's been forced not to, then he feels he's got to resign. So that's a very interesting bit of news. And if it's true, wow, that could be showing what power the Premier League and the Bundesliga and these other leagues have.
Yeah, and exactly. They've been told. I truly believe that they've been told. And yeah, that's just crazy, to be honest with you. You've now got Ollie at the wheel with no conductor. See what I did there? Rams? Ollie at the wheel with no conductor.
Mate, you can't explain it, fella. I saw what you did there.
I've only been on it for 15 hours, and that's the first joke I've taken that I think I'm well impressed with. So let me just say again, Ollie at the wheel with no conductor. So anyway, on with the chat. That's made me giggle, I won't lie. So JT, oh wow, thank you. It's all kicking off, mate. I think that's in reference to the Ed Woodward. Really appreciate you letting us know on that. And thank you, missed one in his whole career. So he's not just prolific at United. Wow. He was obviously Fernandes before they brought him. And that's fair play, to be fair. You can win penalties, which again, defend thank you and Man United. If you get penalties this year, let's take a percentage of it. It's 98% a penalty, right? There's the odd one that most of them are penalties. It's not like years ago, everyone complains, but if you went and got a video out, the old VHS videos, and got a season of, I don't know, 2005 or something like that, you'd see 20 goals that are horrifically offside. Do you remember those, Rams? But I'm talking like 5 yards. I'm talking serious goals as well, scored by Liverpool's famous players, Owen, yours with Henry. These goals that we remember, if you go back, they're offside, they're fouls. So to do it, to get these penalties now, they've at least got to be half legit.
There have been, but also remember, for the first 5 or 6 games, we had that craziness where they were going too far crazy with the handball rule, and there was penalties going out left, right, and centre in the first couple of weeks, and they're not penalties now. They've changed it. No, we went too far.
Yeah,
but mate, they were dishing them out like no one's business.
So scored 39 goals apparently, Fernandes. I'm glad he's in our side. Everyone's a little bit in shock with what's happening over at Man United. Woodward's resigning, absolute madness. Everyone's a little bit in shock still with the Super Six. Everyone's mainly in consensus that it's awful greed. I'm throwing a little curveball in there that just remember that the changeover of the Premier League last time, and the next time you see a crap game, just remember you might have had that option to watch pure. At the end of the day, when you go on Netflix, you don't choose average films, or you choose the best, because that's the world we live in now. At the end of the day, they are a business. Why should they play teams they don't want to play? So very interesting. But Ed Woodward's gone. Man United fans, you've got what you want. You've wanted him gone for a long time. But let's hope it's not the devil. Better the devil you know, and you guys go on to better things. I hope you don't. I hope Ollie crashes the bus. Next year you get relegated. Probably not going to happen. I'm sure you think the same on Liverpool. So as I say, just one more shout out for the guys in the chat. Really appreciate you joining me in Rams. And don't forget to catch us every Tuesday for Fantasy Football League. One more go with the code 2v6FXV. It is in the chat. Get yourself involved. If me and Rams could ask you to do one thing, we've now sort of half a week into the channel, and we really appreciate your support. But get in the chat, in other people's channels, share it on your socials, start really helping me and Rams let everyone know that allfanstv is on the map. These sort of shows are going to be short and sharp, coming to you all week. Tomorrow we've got Fight Camp, plenty of stuff going on, and if you like all watch alongs, we're here for you. Anything else you want to add, Rams, before we call it an evening?
You man, it has been a pleasure. Sorry I've not seen you for a few shows, but glad to be back and look forward to talking to you all about the UFC tomorrow. Let's see the predictions. Let's see. I actually genuinely believe that John is more knowledgeable than me in the UFC, so it's a bit more of a struggle. I think I win this game and he might win that one, but I'm not having that. I might think that, but we ain't playing that game. I'm dealing with him. So let's make the predictions. Let's see who wins. And once you've joined us for that, join us for the watch along this Saturday night. So please like, subscribe, and see you very soon, people.
Lovely. As I say, just to second that, like and subscribe, guys. You've been watching John and Rams from All Fans TV. It's been our absolute pleasure. And I'd like to say, as I cut it off yesterday, and this is the only bit I like about coming on live, is my ending. I'm sure you're sick of it now. I'm never going to give up. I'm John, and I'm gone.